As part of our Firehall soup series, today we're going to make a split pea soup, one of my daughter's favorites, and she asked us to make a video of it, making it so that she could make it when she's out in Calgary. First what we did was we put a little bit of olive oil and butter, just enough to cover the bottom of the pan. Now this is a pretty big pan, approximately 5 gallons, so we're going to make a lot of pea soup today. So what I've done is I've diced up approximately about 16 onions that were about the size, about that size. And then I diced them all up and I put them in here, and now we're going to sweat them out. And once I sweat them out halfway, then I start adding garlic. And I put in about 6 or 7 garlic cloves. Okay, so now that the onions have been sweating for a while, I'm going to add a smoked porkhock. And these you can find at your local grocery store. So we'll add that now. For those that may not know exactly what I mean when I say sweating, what it is just turning the burner on low and not frying the onions, not getting them really hot so they don't burn, just so they get translucent or clear. And they're almost there now at this point. Okay, now that I've sweated the onions and put the porkhock in, now I'm going to add some warm water to it. And we're going to cover it right up. I'll probably have to add about 4 of these. Okay, this is the last one I'm going to put in for now. And once you do this, let's bring it up to a little chuckle again. And if you saw my previous video, a chuckle is that it's just at a little boil, not a big rolling boil. And that's exactly what we're going to do. And just wait for it to come, and then we're going to put some peas in. Okay, so I'm going to put the lid on now and turn her up. Okay, now that your soup's back up to a slow boil, we'll rinse the peas and be able to put those in the pot. So just a quick rinse, just to get out anything that might. And we'll just drain that, and we'll toss it right in the pot. Okay, now we're just going to dump the peas into the pot real slow here and get them going in there. Just want to watch you don't splash yourself with any real hot water. There you go, and we'll just stir it up and bring it back up to that real slow boil. And the reason for that is so that it doesn't stick on the bottom of the pot. Okay, as we rinse our peas, I'm going to do approximately 4 bags of these, and then I'm going to take a look and see if it's thick enough. If not, I'll add the 5th bag. This type of soup takes quite a while to cook. It could take up to 3 to 4 hours to cook, but it's very slow, and you have to stir it often so that it doesn't stick on the bottom. And we'll add flavor as we go. There was one firefighter at the fire hall that had made this soup, and he said he put a lot of love in his soup, and we asked him to not put so much love and more flavor. So we're trying to put the flavor in the soup, and hopefully it'll turn out great. Now we've had some leftover ham from one of our meals, and we just had it in the freezer, so I'm just going to cut it up into bite-sized pieces and throw it in the soup so we thicken it up a bit and gives it a little more flavor. Okay, and now we're going to start adding a little bit of that flavor I was talking about. We're just grinding up some fresh pepper here, and you can put in a lot of pepper. It doesn't come out real strong in the soup, but it does add a little flavor to it. And one thing we don't want is our pea soup to be bland. Yeah, give it a good bit. And we'll check our flavors as we go. One thing about this soup is it changes consistency as it goes along. And the longer it cooks, the more you have to stir it, because it gets thicker and thicker as the peas break down. Okay, we're about an hour and a half into this soup right now, and as you can see, I got it at that little chuckle, as I call it. And that was taught to me by my older sister, who first taught me how to make pea soup. So always bring it to a chuckle, not a laugh. And what we're going to do is slowly just watch it and make sure it doesn't stick. As you can see, the peas are starting to change a little consistency, but not broken down at all yet. So it's going to take a fair amount of time. Like, it may differ at the times with you. If you have a small pot, it won't take quite as long, but with this size pot, it's going to take a while. Okay, at this point our soup is the peas are starting to break down. As you can see, they're kind of starting to turn a little mushy. And at this point we take out our porkhock and we'll cut it up and we'll put the pieces back in. And we're going to start adding some flavor. I add some low sodium chicken broth, and then I add some low sodium beef broth in the powder mix, and just to give it some flavor. And I can't tell you exactly how much, you have to do it to your own taste, but whatever flavor you find you like, that'll be the best. And we're going to add some shredded carrots also to add to the pot to give it some color and a little flavor. Okay, I'm going to add 3 decent sized carrots, and I'm going to put them in a food processor to shred them. I'm lucky enough that my wife bought me one for Christmas, and I'm going to use it. Makes it life a lot easier. Okay, I did forget to mention these were washed and peeled before I shredded them, so they're good to go. You just got to keep stirring, because if you don't stir, you're going to ruin your pot of soup because it will stick. Okay, make sure you don't waste any of that meat off the pork hock. Once you take it out, let it cool down, and remove the hard outer shell that's on there for the smoked part, like the real heavy stuff, and any fat, try to get rid of that too. And we'll just put that in our soup, and it's this soup is just about ready. It's coming together very nicely. I'll give it a quick stir here, but as you can see, it's thickening up very nicely. And if I scoop this up, hardly any peas whatsoever. They're completely broken down almost. So it's going to be delicious. Alright, I think the soup is done. Those carrots that we just put in a few minutes ago, they'll continue to cook with the heat that's there. Please enjoy your soup, and we'll see you next time. I will say this is one hearty soup, and it takes time, but it's well worth the effort, and very good on one of those cold winter days. Okay, we brought it up to a chuckle, and now we're going to start throwing our peas in. And I didn't think they'd do that.